This is the problem. Again, it is not the people. Obviously, I'm a conservative because I think my ideas work better. I think freedom works better. And I think freedom is important. I mean, like Myron was saying, this is a new thing on the face of the earth. The stuff that the Democrats are selling, it's an old thing. When Woodrow Wilson came and called himself a progressive and said, oh, now we need the experts running things, that's not progress. That's regress. That is going back into the past. And I think that the freedom of the people, the freedom that gives you dignity, it means that you got to figure things out. It means you got to take responsibility. It means you got to pick yourself up when you fail. It also means that you've got to depend on your neighbors, and your neighbors have to form communities, and they have to be in communities that will turn to you, and churches that will help you. That's why all of the founders said this is a constitution for a religious people, because they knew we needed community, we needed faith, we needed the ideas that come out of Christianity and come from Jesus of loving our neighbors and taking care of the least. And all the left tries to do is sell you the idea that we are in a crisis. Donald Trump is this evildoer. He's a crisis. Everything is a crisis. I talked about, I think it was last week, I was talking about this constitutional crisis that is completely made up. Well, it's amazing. Once the left started to say it, the press, I mean, it's always about the press. The press starts to sell it to you big time. This is another one of these Newsbusters montages that I love so much. It's cut number 15, where they hear that idea that there's a crisis and they sell you that idea.
If it's a constitutional crisis, that sounds bad to me.
So now you hear the term constitutional crisis.
You hear this word constitutional crisis.
A little constitutional crisis.
What exactly counts as a constitutional crisis?
Are we in a constitutional crisis?
Is this a constitutional crisis?
I think it's a constitutional confrontation.
Constitutional stress test.
Constitutional showdown.
Constitutional confrontation.
Confrontational crisis.
Do you agree with Chairman Nadler that the country is currently in a constitutional crisis?
Yes.
It's a constitutional crisis, okay?
Constitutional crisis?
Daniel Henninger at the Wall Street Journal has an op-ed today, or his column today, where he says, now they're starting to call Trump a dictator, and they're talking about a constitutional crisis. But he asked the question, when have the Democrats ever talked about limited government? They never talk about checks and balances. He says they're weeping crocodile tears for checks and balances. They're trying to hide from public view unprecedented ideological differences between the Trump presidency and the ascendant progressive edition of the Democratic Party. The ideological divide is between a government of limited power, which Mr. Trump represents, and a government with wide coercive powers represented by Jerry Nadler and Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez and Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren and all the rest. This is the thing. I think there are ways to live that will make you happier than other ways, but I do not want to control the way you live. I understand that people get pregnant when they don't want to be pregnant. I understand that people need help and they fall down and their communities collapse. I think when the government comes in to help you solve those problems, it is actually taking things away from you. Federal government, not the local government. The local government can often be very helpful. State governments can be helpful. To run the world as you want it to be run in your locality is what we are looking for. And I just think that these leaders on the left are serving a very, very small percentage of their party, including Joe Biden. I think they're serving a very small percentage of their party, not the people that I meet who are working so hard and making so many sacrifices. Those people, I think, are served by freedom. I think they're served by independence. I think they're served by keeping their money in their pocket and letting other people keep their money in their pocket. I do not think they're served by government charity, which is actually government slavery.